I tried out all 91 weapon combinations in Monster Hunter Wilds, and I'm here to tell you the best, the worst, and the most fun weapon combos for each weapon. Before I deep dive into all the weapons, I want to talk about using two of the same weapon. It is actually a really good combination, as you could bring two different status or element weapons in a hunt with you. If there is a monster in Wilds that has a similar gimmick to Geratotus, this can be super useful. You also don't have to worry about another weapon needing different skills, as you can just make a build revolving around one weapon. This ties into what actually makes a good weapon combination: skills. Whatever weapons benefit from the same skills will most likely have the best combinations and have the best synergy. I will be going over some of the best and worst combos for each weapon. However, at the end of each segment, I will be ranking the pairings I didn't go over. There will be timestamps for every weapon, so if you just want to know which weapon works best for your main, then you could skip right to it. Let's first talk about the weapon that has no bad pairings, and that is Hunting Horn. Since you keep your buffs after swapping, you can pretty much choose any weapon as your secondary. You will want to slot in Horn Maestro, as that skill extends the time the buffs last, making it so you can play with your secondary for longer. Although you can't go wrong with any of Hunting Horn's combos, there are 4 pairs I would consider the best with Hunting Horn. First up, I have Hunting Horn and Hammer, as the skill Slugger both benefits these weapons. This will definitely be the best pairing for KO. You can also play the Melody stamina use reduced to help out with stamina while charging your hammer. With great positioning in Slugger, you will definitely be stun locking monsters to death with this combo. It is no surprise that one of the best pairings for a weapon that gives you buffs is the Bowguns. Both Bowguns are known to deal massive amounts of DPS, and now that you can attack boost extra large yourself, the DPS for these weapons have gotten even higher. If the Melody speed boost comes back, this can majorly help out the mobility of Heavy Bowgun. However, if you are a Hunting Horn main, I wouldn't really suggest this combo, as you are playing more Bowgun than Horn. Lastly, one of the best pairings for Hunting Horn is Longsword. Just like Bowguns, Longsword has a history of dealing out major DPS. And with Wilds making it easier than ever to get red Spirit Gauge, the Longsword can become a unit of destruction with the help of Hunting Horn. Also, since Hunting Horns have the ability to stun, hitting Helm Breaks can become easier than ever. As I said, Hunting Horn has no bad pairings, so honestly, the weapon I would suggest to use as a secondary is the weapon you find the most fun. And if you are strictly a Hunting Horn main, then good news, as using a second Hunting Horn can be extremely useful, as you can get even more buffs. I can only imagine how many buffs you will be able to put on one hunter with 8 Hunting Horns with all different buffs. We could also see new melodies in Wilds that might further help out other weapons. The other weapon that also doesn't really have any bad pairings is Dual Blades. Before you say that Dual Blades should have stamina skills while other weapons are fine without them and can take up skills that should be attack or crit up for some weapons, may I remind you of status effects. With Paralysis Dual Blades, they pretty much become the second best weapon for combinations. Getting a paralysis off with Dual Blades is extremely easy, and when the monster is stunned, you swap to any weapon of your choosing to deal damage while it's standing still. However, there are a couple of combinations that I would say are the best. If you decide to go with Paralysis or even Sleep Dual Blades, there would be no better weapon to pair it with other than Greatsword. With Paralysis and Sleep, you can get a ton of true charge slashes off for free. If you equip Crit Draw with Crit Boost, you can get some serious wake up damage. However, if you are going to be running Dual Blades for Raw or Element, then I wouldn't recommend this combo, as stamina skills won't benefit Greatsword as much as attack or crit skills would. Bow is a pretty hard weapon to pair with, due to it demanding a good amount of skills. However, Dual Blades covers a couple of those skills. Constitution and Stamina Surge will help out both weapons, as you are pretty much non-stop dodging with Bow, and are constantly going in and out of Demon Mode with Dual Blades. If Razor Sharp is also paired with Spare Shot and Wilds, then this is an amazing skill to have with this combo. Razor Sharp will help with Dual Blades not lose as much sharpness, and Spare Shot will give you a couple of more shots with Bow before you have to reload again, assuming Spare Shot works with Bow in this game. The biggest problem with Bow is you might want Bow Charge Plus or Power Shot. Hopefully there is a bow with good decoration slots, as you won't want this interfering with skills that help out Dual Blades. Even with Bow having a lot of demanding skills, this pair is extremely fun and one of my favorites. A good thing to note is both of these weapons have adept dodges, so if you get good enough, the monster will have a real tough time hitting you. While I wouldn't say Insect Glaive is the best pairing for Dual Blades, it definitely is extremely fun. Heavenly Blade dancing on a monster, then swapping to Insect Glaive and start flying around is super fun. Stamina skills can help Insect Glaive, since whenever you are launching yourself in the air or pushing yourself forward in the air, it uses stamina. Power Prolonger is a skill that can also be beneficial to both, although it definitely benefits Insect Glaive more, as if you are running Constitution and Stamina Surge, you will most likely always be in Demon Mode and rarely in Archdemon Mode. Just like Hunting Horn, you can't really go wrong with any secondary weapons with Dual Blades that deal status effects. However, if you are looking to play with Raw or Elemental Dual Blades, there are some pairings I would avoid. Onto the Greatsword combinations. While Slugger could take away skills that benefit Greatsword, Hammer is still an excellent pairing. Focus is very good for both of them as it reduces the charge speed. The Hammer also makes it very easy to KO monsters, which means you can get a lot of free true charge slashes. You also get cutting and impact damage with this combination. One of the best skills to run with Greatsword is Crit Draw, but not many other weapons benefit as much from it. However, there is one weapon that can also benefit a lot from Crit Draw, and that is Bow. Dragon Piercer can deal an insane amount of damage with Crit Draw. Not to mention its new focus attack move, which I can only imagine how much damage it will deal with Crit Draw. If a certain Ice Elder Dragon makes its way into Wilds, whether that be in base game or DLC, this will definitely be the best Unsheathed Sheathed spam duo. As cool as it is to see high numbers, this combination does force a pretty boring playstyle in my opinion. Status dual blades can be extremely useful with Greatsword, especially Sleep. It is very easy to make a monster fall asleep with dual blades, and there is no better weapon to pair it with other than the King of Wake Up. If you don't miss your TCS wake ups, you will be seeing really big damage numbers often with this duo. An issue with pairing weapons with Greatsword is Crit Draw. As I mentioned, many other weapons don't really benefit from it as much as Greatsword does, and you would rather slot in more Critical Eye for other weapons. While you only need 3 skill points for max, so it shouldn't be too hard to slot it in on your Greatsword, it's still something to consider. Crit Draw is a great skill, but you can also work with just having high Critical Eye as well, so it's not the end of the world. Onto Longsword combinations. Longsword and Hammer are the best pairing to break parts with. Need a head break and a tail cut in one hunt? Then this is definitely the pair you want to run. The monster will not look the same after you're done with them with this combo. Hammer also allows you to KO monsters easily, giving you free helm breaks. Switch Axe is a pretty interesting pairing with Longsword, as Focus Mode gives it 2 counters, giving you even more counters in your repertoire. So if you get really good at countering with both weapons, you'll be parrying monsters to death in a matter of seconds. You can also run Focus and Power Prolonger as it helps out both weapons. However, Power Prolonger helps Switch Axe out a lot more than Longsword. While I don't think Charge Blade is the best pairing with Longsword, it definitely is super fun. Hitting a monster with SAED and Helm Breaks can be quite satisfying, as both of those moves deal an insane amount of damage. Honestly, you can't really go wrong with any melee pairings with Longsword, as it's just naturally a really good weapon. It's also the best weapon to cut tails with, so you can quickly chop off a tail with Longsword and go back to the weapon of your choosing. Onto Sword and Shield combinations. If you are looking to spam mounts, look no further than Sword and Shield and Insect Glaive. Sword and Shield has some of the best mounting damage in the series. Pair that with Insect Glaive that lets you go in the air at will, and you'll be toppling monsters left and right, with all the mounts you'll be getting. Sword and Shield and Longsword are both weapons that don't need very specific skills to improve them. A very simple build can actually go a long way with these weapons. You can only have the simple skills like Weakness Exploit, Agitator, Handicraft, and not need to worry about stuff like Artillery, Crit Draw, Guard, and so on. If you don't really like worrying about all those other super specific skills that can further complicate a weapon, then I'd recommend this combo. All you need to do is throw on crit and attack skills and you'll be fine. A style of Sword and Shield that I am not particularly fond of is the support style. My opinion aside, if you want to become the ultimate support, look no further than Sword and Shield and Hunting Horn combo. You can easily help people out with wide range while you have your Sword and Shield out, but also now give them extra buffs with Hunting Horn. If you are scared of randoms fainting in your quest, then you can consider this combo. You can't really go wrong with pairing a weapon with Sword and Shield, as it doesn't have any demanding skills. Onto Hammer combinations. Hammer and Hunting Horn are definitely going to be the go-to pair for KOs, as Slugger is very beneficial to both. If you get a Hunting Horn with the Melody stamina use reduced, that can help with your Hammer charge as it won't deplete as much stamina. Have fun immobilizing monsters with this combo. As I mentioned, Hammer is great at KOing, and what better way to capitalize on those KOs other than a true charge slash. Focus is also very beneficial to both, as it makes both weapons charge faster. With this combination, you get both impact and cutting damage. Another way to take advantage of a KO is with Longsword's Helm Break. This combo is also the best at breaking monster parts, as you can easily break a monster's head and cut its tail in a single hunt. Hammer is a great weapon to pair with, as KO can benefit pretty much any weapon. Onto Lance combinations. What better weapon to pair Lance with than the Lance with a gun attached to it? Guard and Guard Up can be applied to both these weapons. At any moment you feel like you want to start exploding the monster, the option is always there. If I am going to be honest, I am only recommending using Sword and Shield with Lance because it was a very fun pairing. I don't have anything too in-depth to say, I just really enjoyed this combination. Lance can be a bit difficult to pair with, as Guard and Guard Up doesn't transfer to many other weapons. Onto Gunlance combinations. What better way to follow up a Wyvern Fire than with an SAED? Charge Blade and Gunlance share a good amount of skills. Artillery, Capacity Boost, and Guard help out both these weapons. This combo can lead to some serious damage. Another weapon that benefits from artillery are the Bowguns, and more specifically, Bowguns that can shoot sticky ammo. After spamming sticky bullets at a monster, you can swap to Gunlance to deal some serious damage with Wyvern Fire. This is probably the most explosive combo you can choose. When playing Gunlance, you should have artillery on, as it is a pretty big boost to your shells and Wyvern Fire. With that said, the other weapons that also benefit from artillery are obviously going to be its best pairs. On to Switch Axe combinations. Switch Axe and Insect Glaive are the two weapons that benefit the most from Power Prolonger. You could stay in Amp Sword mode longer, as well as keep your Insect Glaive buffs for longer. This combo is also pretty fun, as when you are not revving your sword in a monster's face, you can be jumping around in the air. What better weapon to pair with the Sword Morphing Axe other than the Sword Morphing Axe? Switch Axe and Charge Blade make for the best morphing gaming experience. Hitting a monster with an SAED after ZSDing it is insanely satisfying. Power Prolonger also affects Charge Blade, and if it affects the time you have Charge Shield and Secret Pouch, this can be pretty beneficial for Charge Blade, as you will be able to hold on to a SAED for longer. If you are intimidated by Charge Blade's moveset, I would recommend staying away from this combo, as adding Switch Axe's moveset on top of Charge Blades makes you have like a billion moves. However, I will say this is definitely my favorite Switch Axe combo. Since Switch Axe has gotten 2 counters in focus mode, having Longsword as your second weapon can lead to some insane parry action. Not to mention Power Prolonger also works with Longsword, but it definitely helps out Switch Axe a lot more. I am not biased, play with Switch Axe as your second weapon, you won't regret it. Sure, it helps out to have Power Prolonger with it, and that skill can be useless with some weapons, but using Switch Axe is very cool, and you want to be cool, right? Onto Charge Blade combinations. Artillery is a fantastic skill for Charge Blade, but also really good for Bowguns that can shoot sticky ammo. SAED and sticky ammo will deal a ton of damage with the help of artillery. If you are going to be running artillery on your Charge Blade, might as well bring a Gunlance. Artillery isn't the only skill that benefits both, as so does Capacity Boost and Guard. After spending all your files, you can swap to Gunlance to shell your heart away. Lastly, I will be recommending the Morphing Duo yet again. Switch Axe is insanely fun with Charge Blade. If you choose to play with Charge Blade because it's more complex than all the other weapons, then this combo is for you, as this combo definitely gives you the most moves. Charge Blade is another weapon that benefits from a skill that not a lot of other weapons use. Even without artillery, the Charge Blade is a very fun second weapon. Onto Insect Glaive combinations. The best pairing for mounting is definitely Insect Glaive and Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield has some of the highest mounting damage in the entire series. With Sword and Shield mounting damage and being able to fly in the air with Insect Glaive, mounting monsters will be no problem. Have fun repeatedly toppling monsters by mounting them with this combo. One of the funnest pairings with Insect Glaive is Dual Blades. Flying in the air then swapping to Dual Blades and Heavenly Blade dancing on a monster can be quite fun. Stamina skills can help both weapons, as Insect Glaive uses stamina when jumping or pushing yourself in the air. Power Prolonger can also help Dual Blades. However, if you are running stamina skills, you are rarely going to be in Archdemon mode anyways. Insect Glaive can be a really good secondary weapon if you want a way to easily mount monsters. However, Insect Glaive uses some skills that some weapons are better off without. I'm going to lump Bowguns into a single category, as the reasons why they are paired with things are mostly the same. If you're looking to play with sticky ammo, your best pairings are going to be either Gunlance or Charge Blade. Gunlance and Charge Blade also get heavily buffed from the skill Artillery. After raining sticky ammo on the monster, swap to Gunlance for a huge Wyvern Fire, or Charge Blade for a huge SAED. If you are looking to max out your DPS on your Bowguns, then Hunting Horn is the way to go. Bowguns have always been one of the best DPS weapons in the game, and Hunting Horn allows you to buff yourself, making that DPS be able to go higher. It is a no-brainer that one of the best weapon pairs for Bowguns is the bow. Bow and Bowguns both share ammo skills that will be crucial for both weapons. Power shots, special ammo boost, piercing shots, you get the idea. Since you now have to reload with bows, ammo up could possibly affect bows now. But that's just a blind guess. Bowguns can be a bit hard to recommend as a secondary weapon, as ammo skills are a big part of ranged weapon builds. Although it is pretty useful to be able to start attacking from afar at any moment. Onto bow combinations. One of the most fun combos with bow is Dual Blades. For starters, both these weapons now have an adept dodge, so if you get the timing down, the monster will have a tough time hitting you. Dual Blades and bow both benefit from stamina skills like Constitution and Stamina Surge. If Spare Shot is paired with Razor Sharp in this game, it can be a crazy good skill for this combo, as you lose less sharpness and have a chance to keep a coating. Bow's Dragon Piercer can get a huge buff from the skill Crit Draw, and the other best weapon that also gets buffed from the skill is Greatsword. You can also get a bow that has paralysis coatings to get a couple of free true charge slashes off. As this combo has a big potential of dealing huge amounts of damage, I do find it to have a pretty boring playstyle. The last bow pair I will recommend is the Bowguns. Bow and Bowguns pretty much share every ammo skill. If ammo up works with bow in this game due to how coatings work now, these weapons can be even more synergized. Just like the Bowguns, bow is a pretty hard weapon to pair with, as it needs a good amount of skills. Now that I went over the best and funnest combinations for each weapon, here are what I think are the top 5 funnest weapon pairs in the game are. If you notice, no weapon combo is placed lower than a B, and that is because since all weapons are viable, that means all combos are viable. The only reason I had to place some weapons over others was because if they just felt better than others to use together, or shared skills. As I only have played these pairs in the beta and have no way of testing out the skills with these combos, I think these are safe bets. Even if I was just theory crafting for some, I can see how some of the stuff I said can play out, now that I have had the chance to learn every weapon in Wilds. A new monster in a game does mean new skills, so there might be new skills or even armor set bonuses that can help out pairings I didn't even mention. Well, that's it for me. What weapon pairing did you find the most fun or best in the beta? I would love to hear your thoughts and possible builds for certain pairings. Anyways, thanks for watching everyone.